Welcome back, guys. Once again, we are here at TGX in Melbourne, and we're talking to Sam. Now, Sam, welcome on. Can you tell us the name of your game?
Certainly. Is Wren's Resurgence.
Beautiful. And can you tell us a little bit about your game?
You play as Wren. She is the protagonist of the game. Her sister gets taken at the very beginning by a horde of evil yokai, and she basically has to cut her way through them all, hack and slash style, through platforming and power-ups with different weapons to try and get her back.
Beautiful. It's a nice pitch. So when it comes to the levels, I've played a little bit of it as well, and it looks like the levels there's different biomes within the levels, isn't there? There's different progressions through each area.
There certainly is. So there's 10 levels. They all have kind of reasonably distinct play styles in each of them. Some of them are a bit more vertical, some of them are a bit more straight horizontal. There's different enemies that are kind of situated in each of them that share similarities in how they interact with you, but they are all very unique as well. So you kind of have to approach each enemy differently, but with the idea that you want to basically hit them with your sword.
Well, that's a good way of playing a game, right? When it comes to the upgrades, what sort of upgrades are we looking at?
So the levels can be played very linearly. You can literally just move from left to right. But there are different paths that you can take that are accessible by getting different power-ups. So some of them enable you to climb walls, climb ledges. There's a dash. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that enable kind of different kind of play styles through the same level, which, you know, enable you to unlock more upgrades, find more weapons, and kind of changes up the way you play each level each time you play through.
When it comes to the enemies, I know you mentioned a little bit. The main goal is to hack and slash through the enemies. But there's different tactics to facing each enemy.
There certainly is. So some of them deal, area of effect damage. Some of them, if you touch the enemy, you get caught on fire. A lot of them are pretty slow and lumbering, especially at the start of the game, so you kind of get an idea of how to play against them and everything. But some of them are a lot faster, a lot more swift, don't have as much health typically. So there's quite a bit of variation between them.
Between the enemies. I know I got caught off guard by a burning one.
It catches a lot of people.
I honestly thought it was a part of like maybe a quest. Went over to talk to said thing and they went, "Oh no, okay, I'm gonna kill that."
More often than not, they will shoot fire at you before you get close enough to them. But if you're sneaky enough, you can sneak up and you find out the hard way that you get caught on fire if you touch them.
Now, one of the things I've noticed while playing the game is the little exclamation mark above the enemy's head. Is that an exclamation mark?
It is.
What does that represent?
So, in a lot of the Metal Gear Solid games, when you are caught, when they see you,
I thought that's
you break.
What it was.
Yeah, they go, "Oh, hey, look, there you are." That's basically is inspired by that. They say, hey, they're aware of you. They're going to start tracking you down, trying to hunt you down. It's just an indication to say, hey, look, they've seen you. They're going to come try and bite you.
I thought that's what it was, and I wasn't 100% sure. That's one thing I've been dying to ask you. And I was going to keep it for now. When it comes to, because I've got a perfect view. I've got the game right over here as well that I can watch.
It is. She is currently on fire because she's standing too close to one of those people.
When it comes to the small gems, is that a currency or is that a like an upgrade system?
So there's a couple of different upgrade systems you can get. There are those power-ups you get. You can power a couple of those up. There is a few different weapons that you can get. A lot of them are swords, but some of them have elemental-based things. Like you can get a sword that does inflict that same flame damage that you've incurred onto the enemies. But there's also different weapons. There's a couple of different projectile-based weapons. There's a couple of different bow and arrows, and they have power-ups as well. So those coins or that currency you get, there's a few different vendors that you can use them in. And it just kind of changes up the play style. If you're sick of just hitting a stick against an angry guy that's trying to bite you, you can step back a little bit and fire a couple of arrows.
Perfect. Can you tell us a little bit, without giving too much away, what are we looking at story-wise?
So, very early on in the piece, you play as Wren. Your sister Swan gives you basically an amulet that stops you from immediately dying when a giant monster hits you.
Yeah.
She is subsequently taken. You are trying to get her back.
Yeah.
They believe that she is the key to unlocking the Yokai realm so they can bring more of their forces in. So they take her, and it's Wren's mission, as you would imagine, to try and stop that from happening and to try and get her sister back.
Yeah. Now, I know we've spoken previously, and I know a little bit about this already, but can you tell me a little bit more about what inspired the Yokai approach?
I love them. There's so much depth of character and information and history that there was a lot to draw from when I was trying to come up with the bad guys for the game. And it was fun utilizing that data and creating something tangible and a reason for them to be. And for a reason for you to not like them as well. So there's about 35 or 36 different enemies in the game from the hundreds of different yokai that do exist in Japanese mythology. But it is a really cool pool of information and enemies to draw from. So that's the reason I went with yokai.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, can you explain what a yokai is for us?
Monsters, ghosts, demons. It's just kind of it's a term for ghosts and demons and monsters from Japanese mythology.
Yeah, and they're amazing. I love reading about it as well. There's some really in-depth stories, and some of it's terrifying.
Oh, that's all pretty terrifying. I mean, there's some really good lessons, to learn from them. A lot of them are kind of folk tales or fairy tales to stop people from doing bad things.
Yes. Have you included some of that in the game as well, or?
There is a journal system where you defeat an enemy for the first time. Your journal is updated, and you can go through and read a little bit more about them. And I have had a couple of people hit me up and say, "You've really got me interested in them and the story behind a lot of these enemies," and they've done their own kind of research and found out more and looked into stuff. So it's pretty cool here, and I'm inspiring other people to expand their knowledge on certain aspects.
It's a very fascinating topic, and I feel like a lot of people do miss out on that side of mythology. It's there's a lot of focus on. We were talking about this yesterday actually as well with the ecliptic, with the horoscopes.
Yeah.
There seems to be like one or two mythologies that are really focused on.
Yeah.
And then there's a broad world out there of ones that are just not touched on. And what the Japanese ones are fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
They go wild with a lot of the scary aspects of stuff.
Yes, yeah.
It's a real, quite loud, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool things if you look deep into a lot of different stuff.
Yes.
And a lot of it's just kind of skimmed across the top through generalized.
Yeah, that's really loud. Sorry if you guys can hear that. When it comes to we touched on it a little bit, but where did the idea for the game come from?
I love the Japanese mythology of the yokai and how and why they became so prevalent in early Japan.
Yeah.
I loved the concept of it. I wanted to utilize I wanted to have a reason for having a diverse cast of enemies to fight.
Yeah.
So, and that was a really great pool to draw from. I've always loved them. I love Japan, and I love a lot of their ideas from when I was younger. Like I first got into anime. It drew me in, and I wanted to utilize my knowledge and my love for Japanese culture in that way to emphasize certain aspects of my game. So that was the reason.
And when it came to the overall gameplay, how did you come to what was the inspiration or the driving behind making that type of a game?
Well, when I first started making, I wanted to make a Metroidvania based on the success of Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a great genre of game. People love them. So I thought that'd be a good place to start. They're really hard to make.
Yeah.
And to make a good one is layers on top of that. So I very quickly dropped that idea because I didn't want to make a Hollow Knight clone.
Yes.
Because that's really, from the level where I started, what I was going to end up doing. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make something of my own. So I used elements of Metroidvanias with, alternating paths and different routes you can take, just to kind of emphasize the necessity to get upgrades and take different paths and different things in the game. Mostly just to get different weapons and different upgrades and things like that. There's no need to actually do a lot of the exploration in the game if you just want to beeline it towards the big enemies.
Yeah.
Take them out, go fight the big bad in the end and get your sister back. Otherwise, you can do what you want, really.
Yeah.
It changes the game up if you wanted to play it differently.
Which is fantastic for replayability, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If there's multiple laneways of how you can get to the end, perfect. Absolutely perfect. How long have you been working on the game?
So, when COVID kicked off, I had a newborn, born on the same day the first COVID patient was sent to hospital in Sydney. So we very quickly had a little world to work in. And I've always loved game development. I've always wanted to get into it. So I took that opportunity when I had it to kind of start.
Yeah, just give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And the hardest part about game development is you have to just start and you have to put in time.
Yeah.
And those are two things that I had an abundance of because of the situation I was in.
Because the lockdown.
Having a newborn and having lockdown. So I utilised that and got into my game development journey. So Wren's Resurgence has been on the cards for about 5 years. It's obviously started off as a Metroidvania. It's had a lot of variation, a lot of iteration in that time. And it's got to the point where it's a pretty great game to play now. It shouldn't have taken 5 years, but I had to learn, coding. I had to learn how to use Unity. I had to learn how to do art. I had to do pixel art from scratch. So
yes, I remember talking about this with you last time. It's all you, and you've learnt it as you've gone along, right?
Yeah. So a lot of the levels you'll see at the beginning, the levels they're nice, they're quite pretty, but they get more intricate and more detailed as you go on. That's not intentional from a design aspect. I just had more skills to work with when I designed some of the later levels. If that makes sense.
Which is fantastic. It's good to be able to look at it and see like where you started and where you're going.
One of the hardest parts is stopping though, because as your skills improve, I've come back, I've redone the city level, which is one of the first couple of levels, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Because I come back and I'm like, this could look a lot better.
Yeah. It's always the case when it comes to artistic stuff. You can always go back and tweak. You can tweak forever.
Yeah.
And do different iterations of the same thing and go, oh, you know what? I could add this.
Yeah.
I could add this. And, sometimes it even gets to that point where you're like, let's take that whole thing out and we're going to put this new idea in.
Yeah, I've done that probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle. And one of the tricky things is just deciding, hey, look, it's done.
Yeah.
And in January, I did decide that the game was done, and I put it out, and it had a fair few problems.
Yeah.
One of the main ones is the inability to update the game, which put a pretty big downer on updating the game.
Yeah.
So I've recently, as of I think last week, the 2.0 version is out. And it's rectified a lot of the problems. I can update the game now without damaging people's saves and having to try and redo a whole bunch of stuff. So it is in a really, really good spot.
That's good to hear.
And it's perfect for this environment where people can see a well-polished product. So it's exciting.
That's it. What has we keep talking about my questions
My man.
already, but that's fine. What has the development journey looked like for you?
So 5 years in the making. A lot of learning, a lot of growing, a lot of mistakes. And one of the biggest things that I learned was that mistakes are the most important thing.
Yeah.
And, learning and growing through those. And Wren's Resurgence is 99% mistakes. So
it's the best way to learn.
Well, learning and then, doing it differently next time is the key.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
The development has obviously taught me a lot. Both for game side of things, but also just kind of in life. You just kind of got to start. You just kind of got to do it. You got to just take the first step and just kind of get into it. And it's tricky. It's hard.
And there's obviously so much more to it than just the programming or the art and stuff. There's things like this. If you've never come to like a PAX or a TGX or something, that's a completely different ballpark.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, and the things like live streams, interviews.
Yep.
There's so much that's involved in not just game making, but even, you see the booths around, and there's a lot more than just what you think is on the surface of these types of things.
Well, at the end of it, you're making something for consumption. You're making something for somebody else to look at and be like, oh, I want that. I want that to be part of my life. So and I didn't think about it early on, that the biggest consideration is how people are going to perceive what you're doing, and it has to be something people want to play.
Yeah.
And it has to be fun.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, like Elden Ring fun is not the same as,
Animal Crossing fun.
Yeah. So picking your lane, finding and refining fun, I think is key.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. Sometimes what you think is going to be fun might not actually be fun to others.
Yeah.
And I have had that in the past, but not with game development. I don't know how that would make me feel. If I was like, this is so much fun, and then talk to other people and they're like, I don't know about that.
It's a really great experience coming to places like this, because you do get a lot of feedback. Everyone's pretty nice in person.
Yeah.
Which is not the same online, but the critical feedback is one of the best kind of feedbacks you can get. So it's wonderful.
When it's I can imagine feedback online would be brutal sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Speaking of this sort of stuff, though, have you had a moment that has made all of the work worth it?
I don't think there's a singular moment.
Just a whole bunch?
Every moment, it's like, it's the journey.
Yes,
Is the big thing for me is coming back and being like, oh, that was the problem, obviously.
Yeah.
Now I'm better, now I know. It's the learning, it's the growing, it's hindsight, I guess.
Yeah.
Just seeing somebody play it and it's having a good time. That's the whole reason that I wanted to do it. And I still am waiting for someone really to go, oh, I love it.
Yeah.
No one's actually told me, oh, I love it. Yeah. That's what I'm waiting on. And I'm waiting for that moment. I think that'll be the moment I'll be like,
that'll be
okay, cool.
the big moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very similar for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting to that point where they're like, I just want other people to like it. That's the big moment. It's what you're doing. It's why you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic to see things like this and have people who are interested in the games. You look around and there's generally a lot of people playing games the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic to see. Absolutely fantastic to see. What have been some of the highs and lows?
So the game didn't work well at launch.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big downer on 5 years of development. I let the game down by not enabling it to be what it should have been at the moment where other people could play it properly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of put it down on most of it.
Yeah.
But I think the comeback is those are the wins. Figuring out what happened, why, Those are always the best moments for me.
Yeah.
You know, so anybody that does coding will know that if you change something here, it breaks
something else there.
7 or 8 things further down the track, and it's finding those issues and fixing them. Those are the ones that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And the 2.0 that has just kind of come out. Still a couple of little hitches here and there, but
you kind of expect that, right? And like you said, it is your first project.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience. Moving forward, you know, you keep playing along. Having the 2.0 come out, and like you said, now it's updatable.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Huge win.
Yeah.
Huge.
I agree. What makes the game unique?
Anybody that makes art has their own twist and take on what is completion. What is that they're trying to make. The pixel art for me has been hard, like the whole process. It's all been hard, but it does have its own style. It is pretty at some points. Like even I stop and I look and I go, "Wow, that looks fantastic," and then it's just ugly at other points. And that is a pretty defining thing for me.
It's the uniqueness of the art style. I will agree. It comes down to, because you've picked a unique theme, and then the characters that are out from that theme, the yokai, they're unique in the art style as well. Because once again, have you always been someone who's drawn, or was that something new as well?
My father's an artist. He's a straight up canvas paint, oil paints.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Lawrence Leach. He's one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For some reason it didn't stick for me. So I've always wanted to be good, but I didn't have the hand for it. So with the mouse and the clicking and the squares, it has clicked.
Yeah.
Still a lot to learn. With art, you're never finished learning.
No, you're always learning. It's the same as most other things. There's always something different to learn within the areas.
Yeah.
Your dad's good at oil on canvas.
Yeah.
Is he good at pixel art on a computer? There's always something to learn.
He is mesmerised by it. He doesn't understand how squares can make a picture, where his is flowing in combination of colours, and it can't be the same thing.
Funnily enough, my dad's also a painter.
Yeah.
And I got him, what's it called, is it Procreate on the iPad?
Yeah.
And even the transfer from having something solid to move a brush on or a pencil on, moving to that glass feel.
Yeah, the tactile, it feels different.
It took him a while to get it. And then I bought him that cover that makes it feel like paper.
Yeah.
And that was the moment it kind of clicked for him. He was like, oh, this feels so much better. So, even someone moving from one medium to another that's similar, just different tools, they still need to learn a completely different set of...
Well, one of the most important things is colour theory.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to games. Yeah. Like, I still don't know enough about it to say that my art is good. Like, I can immediately look at a situation that like some of my earlier stuff and be like, that's all wrong.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be good enough at some point.
Yes, yeah.
So, lot to learn, lot to iterate, lot to grow on. Still growing, still learning.
That's all you can do, right?
That's it, always.
What are you most excited about players experiencing in the game?
I haven't seen somebody finish it yet.
Okay, yep.
Which is, it's a reasonably big game. You can spend kind of 8-10 hours in it. You can breeze through it. I can play it in 2 hours. I can get to the end, and I'm excited to see
the first full playthrough.
Yeah, see somebody get to the end and be like, oh, right, that's what it was about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, now you've got me. Now I'm very intrigued. How can people support the development of the game?
Well, it's live now on Steam, so you can get it if people hear this while TGX is on. It is on sale.
Yep.
So that's probably the easiest way to get involved. Otherwise, yeah, just on Steam.
Yep, perfect. If your game was a coffee or tea blend, what 3 flavors would it be?
3 flavors. Gosh, these are the hard hitting questions.
This is the hard one.
3 flavor blends.
This is what it's all about.
Well, there would need to be like a hard kind of woodiness. So we'll go with pine.
Yep. Okay, yep.
So infused pine, bamboo, and maybe dirt from the ground. So quite a rough, kind of rich, woody, earthy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it would be a black coffee.
Just a straight black.
With
harsh.
but there's some niceness in there.
Yeah.
You know, if you like the flavor of wood, I guess.
You know what? Some people do though.
Yeah.
Some people like earthy, woody flavors.
Yeah. I mean, Wren's very nice. She's a lovely lady. She does hit monsters with sticks. So I don't know how that translates to flavor, but I think it's...
Add a little bit of floral flavor into it.
Some
Just
kind
a
of
touch of
some cherry blossom hints. Okay, yeah, all right, there we go.
There's definitely a theme going there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a theme.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thank you for
As
having
you
me.
heard, it's out now on Steam, so please do go and check it out. And if you like what you see, pick it up, give it a shot. Hopefully the rest of the con goes well for you.
I'm sure it will. I appreciate it.
We'll be back very, very shortly with another indie dev interview. So stick around, and once again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
No worries. See you later, guys.